Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hello, welcome to TFYLP. Hold on, gotta get the cameras all set up. Here we go. Welcome to TFYLP, episode 417. We are live tonight on February 8th. Tonight, with me, I've got Christian.
What up?
I've got Paul.
What happening, man?
And I've got Phil.
What's going on, fellas? How you guys all doing?
Eating some pizza.
Could be better.
Yeah, no, I'm having a rough couple weeks. Don't want to overshare. Just Paul knows on Oof. I tend to share my failures a lot, so I'll just get this off my chest now. I lost a bunch of money on GameStop. Not gonna lie, I bought high. Lucas, I thought your Chiefs were gonna pull it out last night, and they didn't. Thought that's why I made my money back. So that didn't happen. So I'm like double in the hole. So I gotta start selling off toys, buddies. So I think I'm gonna have to part ways with my pulse rifle purge trooper here. I gotta sell this Black Series GameStop.
They're reissuing that.
No, this guy's like $90, right?
It's like 20 now. The pre-orders are up.
All right. I got to dig them out. I got my worthy Marvel Legends cap, the cap with the hammer, Captain America with the hammer, right?
Oh, it's a cool toy.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I don't want to sell that thing. That thing's sweet.
Oh man, that just got reissued, buddy.
No, he was a Walmart exclusive. It took me forever to find him.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
All right. The Rainmakers, they're still worth some cash, right? I got the other two somewhere. I got the rifles.
Actually, they're reissuing that too.
What the hell? All right, still in box. This is unopened. Skywarp Thundercracker. Like, what does this set go for? Like, it almost got to 100, right? Is it just under 100, right? What? 120?
It's reissued too, man.
What?
Yeah.
Who's reissuing all these toys? Are they back exclusives? I got to go to Target and hunt in 5 Targets for these things again?
Not anymore.
No, you just order it online.
I think this is something we should talk about, fellas.
You're in luck. That's the topic for today.
Well, what do you know?
Surprise.
Wow.
We will.
All right.
That's what we're doing now.
Yeah. I actually did bet on the Bucks last night, so I did win a few bucks, but we won't get into that.
So, Zaldron wants to bet on how long we will stay on topic. So
Well, we started off on topic, so
yeah,
let's keep it going.
Well, what is the topic again for those that are not in the know?
Well, Paul, I think that this is an idea from you, right? From last week.
That's right. This is an OOF original. This comes all the way from last Wednesday when we hung out on the after show for like a whole hour and talked about this very topic. And then I think Peter had the great idea, like, why aren't we making this a show topic for TFYLP? And
if only you had recorded it, we could have just taken the night off, Paul.
Oh, that's no fun. It wouldn't be live. We gotta do it live.
Freaking Oof invading the main show.
And then Peter was gonna make it.
At that.
Peter was gonna make it, but apparently his internet crapped out. So
I think an alligator ate it.
Yeah.
Likely.
Maybe it's snowing down in Florida too. Well, yeah,
Ugh.
somehow we got on the topic of, oh man, all the stuff's getting reissued, and we were talking about the goods and the bads of that, and I think a lot of people would probably say there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that. Okay, so I think that's like a pure collector would think that. It's like if you didn't get it the first time, then you're in luck, which is kind of what it means. That's how you're kind of supposed to interpret it. But there's lots of nuanced reactions to this sort of thing, and the reason we were talking about it is because there seems to be a sea change in how exclusives are being handled recently, and the fact that they're getting these second lives, if you will. And so we just think there's kind of a lot of angles on this subject, and thought it would be worth getting a bunch of different opinions on. What do you think?
I guess I'm that pure collector because I don't see an issue with it. Con exclusives, I think, should stay exclusive to cons. But store exclusives, I think once they run out their original run, if there's demand for them still, then bring them back. I don't care.
Well, what's the difference? Why do you qualify those as being two different situations, my friend?
I think it's the souvenir aspect of it. Like if you go to a show and you get your BotCon toys, like you were there, you got them, like it's part of the experience. But like if you go get to a store exclusive, like I went to a Walmart one time, like it's not a commemorative thing.
So you think all those people that went to San Diego Comic-Con 2020 should be able to revel in their souvenir exclusives from last year?
That was the pit, right? That's ended up as a Pulse exclusive instead.
Yeah, and that's another side to this discussion is, these weren't necessarily that exclusive. They're exclusive to Pulse, but how many runs have they done of this set? This has not been this was a set that if you got it right away, you could have maybe turned around, sold it for a few bucks, but that thing was already available for second or third rounds of ordering. I'm wondering, is that going to be the case moving forward with these kinds of exclusives? Are convention exclusives kind of dead as well?
I don't know.
I don't know. It never bothered me with say TFCon, that a lot of their exclusives, like MMC would put them up on PSX afterwards, or the retailers would put them up online afterwards and all that. And I think you can still commemorate the show that you went to, get your exclusive. It doesn't matter just because whoever managed to order it online.
That's true. I think they call those timed exclusives, right? So it's exclusive for a time, and then it's more broadly released.
But I think also what we're seeing, now what's different is that, when those TFCon exclusives or BotCon exclusives, like you pre-order the set, even if you didn't attend the show, you could still order the set. You pay a few bucks extra. Once those things sold out, gone. And now what we're seeing from Hasbro, both with the Pit of Judgment set, a bunch of the other exclusives that we just talked about, again, not limited to Transformers. These are exclusives that they sold out. They disappeared. The secondary market price went way up. And now a year later, out of seemingly the blue, boom, here you go. Entertainment Earth, go order them again. And whatever other, toy, websites got them. So certainly Pit of Judgment is still a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, but I believe you can still order them right now. So, is this a changing environment where Hasbro has said, well, why should some secondary market seller make $90 on one of our products when we can reissue it because there's enough demand out there? Is this a one-off, or is this the new environment that Hasbro is working in now?
I hadn't thought of it from that way. I guess we've always asked, why would Hasbro leave money on the table? Maybe they just got tired of leaving money on the table. Like you said, if there's demand, why not meet it?
Right, absolutely. And I think if they want to do something like I know the Back to the Future Gigatron figure where they put a sticker on it, like, if you want to do it where the show exclusive or whatever has a sticker on it or something,
Sure.
like I think that could be a way you could do it, just so that people feel special. But at the same time, I know certain people like Nick, it always drives them crazy because then that's a packaging variant, and then they feel like they have to get both. So I realize for the crazy people that don't like that.
I have a really easy solution for those kind of people. Just don't. Just do not. You don't have to. It's the same toy.
Right.
Just don't do it.
I mean, we could tell Paul to stop eating, but he won't.
But he won't.
No.
Yeah. Hey, at least Paul has his mic muted, so that's at least good.
That's very polite. Thank you. Can I pull in our topic from last week's microcasters as well? Because we're seeing stuff like this. This is, punch and counter punch. It's not the exact same figure because they've repainted it, but it's the same character repaint. Same with the clones. They've been brought back after several years to seemingly meet demand from the secondary market too.
Different
but
situation.
Similar.
Different barcodes, different decos, different everything.
Yeah,
Not
I
the
know,
same.
but it's relatively similar.
Look at these. This is also different. This is just you were bringing up packaging variants. Here's one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, we're
But
talking about-
I think that
talking
in
about-
general, I was just going to say Hasbro is probably not in the business of having a bunch of exclusive toys that they make small runs on. I'm sure that they'd rather make as many and sell as many figures as they can.
I just don't know if I've ever seen this before where a toy from a year plus ago in some of these cases is now getting reissued. I mean, the Rainmakers, that was 2019. Worthy Cap was 2019. Pulse rifle Purge Trooper is either 2019 or early 2020. Thundercracker and Skywarp was a hot toy and middle of the year 2020 there. But I mean, we're talking, we're talking what at the earliest, 8 months since these toys were first released, and now they're pushing them out again. And it's kind of one of those things when it comes to your buying habits. Do you just are you going to scour the shelves now for an exclusive, like the next exclusive that comes out? Are you going to scour those shelves, or are you just going to be like, meh, give me a year and a half, and it'll probably pop up again. I'll just get it from EE.
That's a risky
considering
play.
It's a risky play.
Considering that I'm the type of person that wants to get stuff right away, and that it drives me nuts if someone has it 2 weeks before I do. Like, I'm probably not going to wait a year and a half for an exclusive. But I think it's better. It's different to go hunting than to go and pay $100 or $200 for a $20 figure.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, go Phil.
No, I mean, I would certainly rather get something for retail, but we've all probably been there where there's an exclusive where you can't find it. You go to every store, you're seeing sighting postings all over your local message boards and Facebook pages, and you get there just a few minutes too late. And you're just like, shoot, and what's the ultimatum? Do you hope that you will eventually find it? Or is it a situation where you do say, all right, I'm gonna fork over the cash and get it secondary market and pay a few bucks extra? Or now we have a third option, a potential option, a risky option, as Paul said, that you wait it out and hope that it gets reissued. And again, is this the start of a new trend? Is this a one-off thing? Because 2020 was a crazy year for toy sales.
Yes.
So the one thing I will say in general is that a lot of mainline regular figures were released as exclusives, and so I think that really sucks for the people that wanted, I don't know, Ironhide and Prowl, or whoever, Ratchet, some of those kind of characters, and especially like if you're ordering internationally. So like, I mean, Amazon, you should probably be able to order those internationally, but like some of the stuff from Target, Walmart, you may not be able to necessarily get that if you live in another country. And so for those people, and I don't know as far as them ordering from Pulse or whatever, but I assume that they would be able to get their hands on some of this stuff easier with these re-releases.
Phil, I like that you brought up that it was in fact 2020 last year, because what if there's another angle on this that we haven't thought of? What if this is an opportunity for people who theoretically should have been staying home all last year to get those store exclusives? Maybe it's demand just for pandemic exclusives.
Yeah,
the Rainmakers kind of throw
these
that
weren't
out, but
pandemic exclusives.
Yeah, the majority of these were
before
2019 toys.
These decisions were made before the pandemic.
Okay, well, fine.
They just were. I mean, the reason some of these I can't say it in terms of Worthy Cap or the carbonized Mandalorian, all those items that are coming back. But as far as Transformers go, we always knew there was going to be a Japanese release of Skywarp, Siege Skywarp. We always knew, which just came out, by the way. We always knew there was going to be a Japanese release of the Seeker Pack. We always knew there was going to be a Japanese release of the Rainmakers. They have numbers. They were they were solicited. But as Americans, we just ignore that shit now, because why would we care? They're the same item as what is in stores. But things that are exclusive in the United States for Transformers, because of brand unity, as we call it, they often get released in Japan as regular release or Takara Tomy Mall exclusives or some other sort of special release. So that means those items are back in the factory and the mold's being used. And so typically what I see is the reason we're getting these extra runs of this stuff is because they're on the factory line and Takara's making their product to sell. So Hasbro's like, hey, give it here. I always thought they were made in different factories, though, so I don't know how this is a benefit to either company. But, if Rick was here, he might be able to, stamp me out on this or have it make sense. But these reissues line up with the Japanese releases.
That's interesting.
So just,
I think they're made in the same factories, aren't they? At least the mainline. Like, didn't they have that whole thing with the Chrome Dome where, like, some of the Japanese Chrome Domes ended up with, or no,
yes,
some of the U.S. ones ended up with Japanese heads by accident?
Did anyone find that more than once? I feel like that was maybe a myth.
I think it was twice.
Fred found some.
Okay.
I haven't personally found any of those crazy, like, oops, put the wrong head on the toy. Spoiler! I've never seen one of those myself, so I'm not sure they exist. But if you do look at the release dates, like, it lines up. This happens all the time. Like when they reissue a masterpiece, like Lio Convoy, which they did last year, which kind of no one knew about, they re-released that. I was like, oh, they're going to make another one. But I think maybe 2020 messed that up.
So you mentioned Siege Skywarp, though, and if that did indeed get released in Japan around, I just don't know about the dates. I'm not questioning whether or not it happened.
It just came out. I know that.
Okay, cool.
Because I bought some.
Good, but that one hasn't been resolicited in America.
No, maybe because potentially, maybe Amazon puts their big boy panties on and says, no, we actually want this exclusive means exclusive here at Amazon.
Interesting. Okay.
Whereas I think the deal is different for every partner, and Amazon seems to play for keeps. So they to them, that word exclusive might mean something more than it means to, say, Hasbro or any of the other companies, where it seems like the crux of this discussion is like, does that word matter? That's the question.
I would think for Amazon too, like I could see them like getting more in, like ordering them again. Whereas like I feel like, that Walmart and Target, like they don't want last year's exclusive back in their store again.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe we will see some more of this, in the next few months, only at Amazon, perhaps.
But
nothing. Everything's fair game. It seems like it is.
the Marvel Legend thing, I feel like they've been doing this for a while, but then it's usually not the exact same figure that they're re-releasing. It's usually like a slightly different variation of, if it's either a Build-A-Figure or it might be something else that was exclusive or whatever. So like kind of, that punch counterpunch set that you're talking about.
Like there was the Build-A-Figure Monster Venom that got released as a deluxe figure for Monster Venom. Kingpin was a Build-A-Figure that was hard to get. He got released as a deluxe figure with a different paint deco. So we've seen that a little bit, but again, that's kind of a little different because it's not exclusives. It is a toy that's being re-released, something that is expensive on the secondary market that does get re-released. We have seen Hasbro do similar things with the Black Series, where they will do sort of their greatest hits, figures, where it's an anniversary wave that's full of older, harder to find toys. But again, that's a totally different packaging. And so, how many times have we seen the Black Series Boba Fett, just with, 5 or 6 different packaging variants? Not even variants, just totally different packaging. Even some a little bit different in the paint. But I don't know. I don't recall ever seeing this kind of scenario happen where, suddenly a Walmart exclusive is a year and a half later just out there in the great, online toy universe.
Ron in the chat brought up an interesting point. Like the Walmart, they had those 35th anniversary toys. So like, Megatron, Sound Blaster, and whatever. And they came back in stock recently too. But what was weird about that is they immediately went on clearance. Like all of them. So I don't know if that's...
Well, that's just because Walmart doesn't know how to manage their SKUs.
No. We had a local toy posting today of a guy just like randomly stumbled upon a bunch of Sound Blasters on clearance. And it's a store a lot of people go to. It's like, I've been to that store like twice a week for the last month and never seen those there. And suddenly this dude like finds 5 of them for like $7.99.
He finds them from his buddy that put them behind the tire section.
Yeah, or they just never end up on the shelf. But anyways, I had to laugh at that. Sorry, that was a recent. Well,
the funny thing about that was it was only Megatron and Sound Blaster that came back in stock. It wasn't Optimus and it wasn't Blue Streak. So I think that was more a case of like, oops, like an internal warehouse find, like the distribution center, like they got hidden behind a bunch of crap or on the top of a shelf for, a year, like a few pallets of them or something.
Or they fished the shipping container out of the ocean.
Or maybe the Optimus and the Blue Streak were supposed to be there too. It's hard to know. I mean, we'll never know the details of like why that kind of thing happens. But I think that one was sort of strange because that does happen especially since they got clearanced. It's like, oops, more of this stuff because they were not only clearanced at the store when they came online, they were like $20 as well.
Right.
Because I got a few Sound Blasters. So that was a good pickup.
So let me play another side of this. We've been talking about this from the collector side of it. I am one of those collectors that this has come up several times in the different chats here. The idea that, hey, listen, if you're going to be buying toys, you kind of end up starting to be a little bit of a dealer too. I am not a big fish by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a tiny, minuscule fish. But if I find, 2 Skywarps and Thundercrackers that I can get my hands on when those were hot toys, it's like, okay, I buy 2 of them, sell 1, that can afford me to buy a couple more toys. Nothing crazy, nothing significant, but, you do that here, you do that there. Again, just to, all right, you got a toy budget. How do you stretch out that toy budget? You're at the store, you see a hot toy, you grab 2 of them to put one on eBay. It's frowned upon in some circles. It's common practice in others. So how do we handle that now? If that's what you're doing to, increase your toy budget by doing a little toy flipping on the side, should you even try to do that? Unless you find the toy like in that first 2 weeks that it's out, to get the guys who need it right away, is that even worth it now to grab an exclusive, or is that exclusive that you're going to grab not really going to go up in price because other collectors will just be like, it'll become like the refrain that happens with MPs. I'll wait for the KO. This time it's like, I'll just wait for the reissue. And we've had the discussion like one of the last TFYLPs I was on, where we talked about Transformers collectors being a little bit thrifty. I highly expect we're going to hear that refrain of wait for the reissue. So what do you do if you're somebody who's trying to, make a few bucks off of this? Some folks do it a lot more than just, one or two extra toys. What is
Paul,
what is that?
Did you set up Phil's email so that people can forward on their feedback on that topic to him?
Hey, you know what? I know I'm a little bit of a black hat saying that stuff. I know I'm someone who is that's not a popular thing, but I didn't start doing that. I didn't go into a store to say, hey, I'm going to do this. You go into a store, and sometimes it's not. I will admit there are times where I don't even intend to do it.
Hey.
I've got multiple thrusts because I thought my pre-orders were going to be canceled, and then all the pre-orders came in because pre-orders were being canceled left and right. So, it's one of those things that
accidentally got those 8 extra cases of of toys. I don't know how it happened.
I have
how to get 12 Omega Supreme.
I got 3 extra thrusts, of which I've sold several to my friends at retail. But it's one of those things that, again, I did not intend to end up with that many thrusts.
So I actually like to kind of frame this a different way.
By all means.
It's a similar thing. I feel like as collectors that you want to be able to have the cool thing that other people can't get. That you're like, oh, my collection is unique. And when somebody online is like, oh man, I can't believe you have X figure, I couldn't get it because it sold out or did whatever, it feels kind of special that you have that. Or just certain people, because you've been in the game for so long, that some of those figures that were plentiful, 10 years ago or whatever, they're hard to find now. And so a little bit of that where it's like, oh yeah, I did the work, I put in the work to, get some of these exclusives. And then a year and a half later, instead of having that feeling, when other people are like, oh man, I can't get a Skywarp or whatever, that, you're like, oh, it got re-released. Sorry.
If this practice shuts down toy flippers forever, the world will be a better place.
Well, fat chance of that happening, but I want to point out sort of a where was I going to go? I already lost. This was a major point of the whole thing. Damn it.
Do you want to get in my soapbox some more and
yes.
Let you go? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get that there's a gray market economy, especially right now with pandemic times. People are trying to scrape together cash, and they're trying to scrape together cash from selling toys. But, guys, there's other jobs to get. There's other things to do for cash. Stop taking toys off the shelves. Just stop doing it. It's not even a collector thing. I mean, it's partly a collector thing, but, I think kids still like toys. Moms and dads and grandparents still like to go out there and buy toys for kids. I just don't. I can never get into the mindset of someone who wants to just flip toys. They sit out at Walmart at the crack of dawn, wait for them to open, take all the stuff, and I never understand it. I've never understood. Stop doing it. It's a scumbag thing to do. There's my soapbox. Paul, do you remember your point?
Yes, I did. Thank you. I don't know how long you'd last on the high seas with all those pirates out there plundering your booty, Christian. But
it's bad.
I'm glad we don't live in that world. I guess what I meant to say was, I've been following toys for a long time. I've been selling and buying toys for 20, 30 years at this point. I mean, at different levels, but I used to really pay attention to the price of vintage toys or whatever. And I remember for a while I was at the point where if you asked me how much a toy was worth, I would give it my best guess, and I would. Not saying I was right. This didn't happen. This situation didn't happen a lot. I'm not saying I'm God or anything, but like I could guess within like $15 one way or the other what like an average price was on eBay. I have lost my ability to do that a long time ago. But what I have noticed by following that stuff is that, like most things, like the value of Transformers and like the popularity, it goes in cycles. It's gone up and down a lot. And I think it's reflective of the toy industry in general too, because of the ages of demographics and sort of things. But like there's times where nothing sells out, like exclusives across the sea. Back in the day when there was like exclusives in Japan you had to get a hold of that you thought might be hard to get, but like there was a time when you could pretty much guarantee nothing would sell out and it wouldn't be hard to get it on the aftermarket. You ever felt like that was the status quo of Transformers? Like
sure.
Yeah, I felt like that a few years ago.
Yeah. So we have been. So when that happens, the people making exclusives and making these these runs of toys are like, ooh, better step back. They react to that sort of thing, and they've been reacting in a negative way for I think quite a while. And then you got Toys R Us going away, which the ghost of that's still lingering out there. And now you got all these retailers. It took them 2 years to get in this position, and especially look at the GI Joes. It's a new brand. Hasbro is not sure how much they should make, and the retailer isn't sure they want to make that much, and the retailer's 1 foot in half the bill, so like they kind of have the say. And they're like, our risk appetite for this product is yay big. What they didn't realize is that the appetite for buying that product was way up here, off the screen. And so that's why you can't find it, and that's the supply and the demand didn't work out. And so what I think we're seeing here is finally a change in the direction. The exclusives have been selling out for about a year, I'd say, or more. And so suddenly we're seeing them say like, hey, we can take bigger swings. We can make more products here. The appetite to purchase this product is higher than it was. So because we've been on such a downswing, you never know when it's going to turn, and there's like an equilibrium shift when that happens. Remember when you could guarantee every BotCon set would sell out, and then it suddenly didn't, and then it didn't, and didn't, and didn't, and didn't, and then they're like, well, we're only making 1,500 of these Megatrons at the last thing, and they all sold out right away, because it was like, a paradigm shift. You can't predict when these things are going to happen. You can't actually see them happen until they do. And we are in a point where now things are selling out, so they need to up the quantities. And everybody is, and of course, this is just observation. I don't actually know, but I'm talking like I do. So please poke holes in this. But that's my observation. Is I think we are now on an upswing where things are selling out. People are paying more for items. There's more buyers in the market somehow. Like people in their 40s are returning to toys. Also, the pandemic.
I wanted to go down that road, actually.
Sure.
I think
I'm pretty much done, but that was my.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in on you, but I think that we have those extra people in the market now is interesting. I believe that Nick has probably told us that last year when the first stimulus checks came out here in the U.S., that his toy sales and a lot of toy sales across the board went up like incredibly much. I think people being home and then people having a little bit of extra cash let them go back to their childhood joys or something like that. I'm not of that age range, but it just seems like there's way more people in the market for toys now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of people that can't go out and do stuff anymore. So the money that you're going to blow on that sporting event or concert or whatever it may be, going out for dinner, like yada yada, like so a lot of those types of things that you have there's a segment of the market, not necessarily everyone, but there's a certain segment that they may have some extra disposable income from that, and they're looking for ways to, enjoy themselves a little bit. And so, like, maybe buying some of these collector items, can kind of do that because they're like, oh, yeah, I got this nostalgia. Like, I remember when I used to buy Transformers, et cetera, et cetera. Like, whatever the line may be.
You could kind of see, I guess I hadn't thought about it this way either, but you can kind of see who those people are based on what has and hasn't sold out. Like, for example, take the Amazon Barricade and Punch Pack. Like, you could still get that one, but Ratchet sold out immediately. Prowl and Ironhide sold out. And I guess none of them sold out immediately, but they sold out eventually.
Yeah.
Same with the Seekers. Everyone wanted those, but you could still get Select's hubcap on Pulse. I think it's just that demographic
hubcap?
of kids who grew up with 84 and 85, and maybe even 86, like were aware of those characters, but then tuned out after the movie. Like they don't know about Punch, they don't know about Hubcap, and why would they care about Barricade? He's a Bayformer.
Well, I mean, think of it this way: from a retailer, if you're a retailer forking over money for an exclusive, if you don't have your head in the sand, you're like, oh yeah, I want Ratchet and Ironhide,
Right.
And my exclusive
main characters.
Right. I work at Walgreens. I want Ratchet. By the way, we're a pharmacy, so it makes perfect sense. Give me the doctor. That might have just been a happy accident, that they picked him, because some of the other toys they've had have been like, what? Will you just take anything?
Well, and like the clones languished on Target shelves. The Decepticon clones languished on Target shelves over the summer, but you could hardly find Skywarp and Thundercracker.
Well, I wonder too on some of those older exclusives where they're kind of lame, like Namor or something like that. That Walgreens is like, hey, dude, like, quit holding out on me. Like, show me the money, or we're not going to do exclusives anymore. And give me some main characters. Like, I wonder how much of that too, and then that's part of the reason why you're seeing this mix where Hasbro's like, all right, we'll give you like one that's not that great, like we'll give you the clones or whatever it may be, and then like we'll give you the Seekers.
I think Walgreens got savvier at what amount of numbers to order their exclusives at, because the early exclusives, the Black Ant-Man, the Namor, the Medusa, those got, I think, overordered, maybe even some like the Invisible Woman's. But then like Punisher, Silver Surfer, since then, like they're just gone. After a couple months, they're just gone. Even like Infamous Iron Man, the Doctor Doom Iron Man, like not a hugely in-demand character or figure. I mean, it was a costume that lasted maybe 6 months, but I can't find him on the shelves anymore. I don't know what he's going on secondary market, but I feel like the Walgreens, ordering system, they got wise as to, hey, the cool factor of Walgreens having toys exclusives, it's not that cool anymore, and people just aren't buying them. So we don't need to order as many as we did. What I'm wondering about with the demand for toys, how much of it is it real, and how much of it is people who have jumped into the toy flipping market in 2020 because it was an easy way to make a few extra bucks. Is the market overinflated in that? And that's kind of the big question.
Are you saying we're headed towards a early 90s comic crash?
I don't know if it's that severe, but I mean, I grabbed a few of those Storm and Thunderbird sets from Target, and those things are just clogging up the clearance aisles right now. I mean, even the NECA Ninja Turtle stuff, which was super hard to find, NECA's putting out better numbers now, and it's just like you can walk into almost any Target and likely find one or two of those sets versus before. If you didn't get there when the NECA distributor was putting them out, you're not going to find them unless you got a buddy that lives in Timbuktu and their Target never gets picked over. So I'm wondering, is this across the board? The toy flippers, who are a real group, that have they expanded in enough numbers, have they artificially driven up the market that there is a greater demand than truly is out there? Bless you.
You're saying Toy Street Bet subreddit is having an impact on the outcome of toy sales?
I'm guessing, man. I'm
gonna make that subreddit. Like, I'm gonna do it right now. Scalps.
Well, I mean, I feel like that, these companies in general want to walk that supply-demand curve so they don't end up with extras, yet they want to make it so that when you walk into the store and you see it, you're like, you don't even think about it, you're like, I'm going to get it. But they don't, so you don't want to do that, but at the same time, they don't want it so that, like, nobody can get a hold of these exclusives, because I think that's one thing with G.I. Joe, like, I feel like now is that it's like, I wonder if they're losing some collectors because those collectors are like, screw this, like, I'm not going to do this for every two. Like, it's one thing if you had to, like, pay a little bit extra for one exclusive or whatever. You had to, like, wake up at 7 a.m. to get out there when the store opens and whatnot for one thing. But, like, if you had to do that for every single toy release, like, I mean, that's just frustrating.
Tell that to the sneakerheads. I see the same dudes camped out in front of the shoe store all the time. They're probably flipping, but who knows? It's a whole nother culture. I think the equilibrium is very hard to hit correctly. And I think the toy companies and the retailers would rather sell out than be clogged with extra product.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they maybe have seen that there is, like, we could have ordered like 5-10% more than that. So next time, let's do that. But the problem is, they want to increase gradually because it only takes one mistake to, like, really, sour the milk for them. It only takes one set of clones on Target shelves for the toy buyer at Target to be like, yeah, I don't know about this crazy stuff.
The toy buyer at Target for Star Wars, that dude, like, I don't know what he's thinking, because Moloch and, God, that guy just never disappeared.
Is that to do with the tentacles or whatever on his face? That was.
Yeah, he was like a deluxe figure from Solo.
Oh, oops.
Rumor has it that he and Constable Zuvio are still hanging on the shelf to this day.
Yeah. Although another one I heard is coming back is the Target exclusive Gamorrean Guard.
Didn't that already come back once?
Maybe.
Yeah, I thought it did.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's risk involved in these deals, and so they have more data than we do, and they are making decisions based on that data as to how many to get, how many's feasible, and you know what? Reissuing a product like they're doing right now is a lot easier than making a new one.
That's true.
If they're making another run of the Seekers, they're gonna make, like, I don't know, probably double-digit of % more profit on the run this time than the first time. So that's like an easy money, and that might be all it is in this situation. It might be like it's a way to get a big win for everyone involved. So why not do it? Because that word exclusive has no legal binding. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word.
Unless it does.
Then what does it mean?
I don't know, but you mentioned the thing with Amazon earlier. Maybe it means something different for, like you said, different partners.
I mean, that's the only thing. I haven't seen the Amazon stuff get reissued. If there's anyone in the chat that knows of an Amazon toy that has gotten reissued, I'd be interested to know. But I would think that goes into the fine print of the contract with each person.
And I'd be interested to know even one step further, like, why would it be different for Amazon? Like, what made it different so that Amazon made it so their stuff could never be sold again, if that's the case? And we have no idea if it is, pure speculation. But, like, what makes them so much different as a retailer than a Walmart or a Target?
What makes Amazon different as a retailer?
Wow.
Well,
just in the
welcome to class.
Just in the eyes of Hasbro having them as a distribution outlet.
Amazon might have better
everyone
lawyers.
gets exclusives.
What? Amazon might have better lawyers.
Maybe.
That negotiated the contract different. They could have forked over more money. There's leverage.
Sure.
Every company has their own leverage, and usually Walmart kind of like sets the tone for these sort of deals, but maybe they don't care, because their exclusives have been sold at wholesale quite a bit, which that shocks me.
Well, the other thing too is I wonder with some of these online exclusives, and I don't know how long it takes them to fulfill it. But maybe they can manage the inventory a little bit better. Like as we had kind of said before that, like for Walmart, maybe they make a certain run of X number, whereas this they can kind of open up the pre-orders, see how many they're going to sell, and then like kind of go from there. Like, okay, we sold this many in this many days, so let's make this many and add 20% or 50%, whatever, and then that way you're not seeing it where they're going to be clearanced out. Because like I think that's really just the big thing is like no one from these retailers or Hasbro want to see clearance items, and so like by doing this online, one, maybe you get at a market you couldn't get with those in-store shoppers, and two, you're maybe not going to necessarily see as much stuff go on clearance.
I think with Amazon, because they don't have to deal with foot traffic too, it's just a very different setup for what they're looking for. I mean, they're not ordering in smaller numbers to try and drive in foot traffic like a Target or Walmart might be. Amazon is just purely like, hey, this is a toy, we're going to offer it, we're going to buy this many units. When it sells out, it sells out. That's all we're committing, because that's what our metrics say we should commit to.
And I just want to put a pin in something that I've seen in the chat. Punch Counterpunch was an Amazon exclusive in the Prime Wars trilogy. That is a different toy, release, everything than the one that's been put in the Odyssey 2-pack, okay? Like, Amazon does not own that mold. They just have released, they've been the place that's released it twice.
I heard Jeff Bezos retired specifically now that those two toys have come out, that he's just done.
Counterzos will be his new CEO of...
Yeah. It's going to be a CEO with a full head of hair.
What if they do own some part of that mold? We've never seen it released anywhere else.
It's going to get released in Japan, not an Amazon exclusive, so, I mean, I wouldn't...
Okay, well, that's true, too. I don't know. It is odd.
It's not that odd.
Watch Microcasters last week to see how odd we thought that was.
Definitely watch Microcasters, but
watch it every week, not just last week.
Watch it all.
Watch this week and next week.
Specifically, we talked about Counterpunch last week. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I just want to point out that that's not like what we're talking about here. Like, that is a different release of the same mold, and it just happened. Luckily they didn't call it someone else. That happens all the time across all channels. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. Specific re-release of the same product again to the retailer or another retailer. So another thing, I think Walmart is kind of into this. Have you guys heard of the idea of a timed exclusive?
Yes,
I brought it up earlier.
You did? Okay, I didn't know if you actually called it that. That seems to, that's another type of exclusive that, it apparently, I don't think retailers and wholesalers and manufacturers like to let you know ahead of time something's a timed exclusive. They just call it an exclusive, but then at some point the exclusivity wears off. For instance, you could wholesale a lot of the Walmart exclusives for Transformers, like the G1 reissues of like Optimus Prime and not Blaster necessarily, but the mini bots. You could buy those at wholesale through other means than Walmart, but it was about a year and a half after they were on store shelves. So I don't know if that means more was made and Walmart.
Hang on those.
Okay.
This kind of goes back to what you were saying with the production runs being different. Because if it's a year and a half afterwards, that's about the time they started appearing in Australia. Finally. That's...
There you go.
I think that goes more to support what you were saying earlier about the Japanese releases and our current issues.
A lot of it has to do with, like, if it's a different product or not, though. Like, if the UPC is different, if it has multilingual packaging. I don't know what the ones that showed up in Australia look like. It's very possible. They were? Okay. Then yeah, there's also stuff gets released in Hasbro Asia and by Hasbro Asia all the time. That is then sold in like China and Singapore and whatnot. That's like very murky realm for me. But I don't know if it's one of these things where like they make more and Walmart's like, all right, or Hasbro's like, hey Walmart, we made more of this for restock, and either they say we only want 10% of that, like either they had the order and then they reneged on it, to be like, oh, we're not gonna take that, and so then Hasbro has to find other means to sell it. But that's all like very black box internal sales procedures that we'll never really know.
I've got kind of two comments on that. Number one is I feel like McFarlane Toys has been doing that recently, where they will have for a month or two a time exclusive, whether it's Target or Walmart, and then all of a sudden it's just a toy that you can get anywhere. With a lot of the McFarlane Batman toys, it was like, this is a Walmart exclusive, and I'm like, I don't think it is. And people will swear up and down it is, and for a while the only place you can find is at Walmart, and then 2 or 3 months later, all right, now it's at Target and other retailers. But I think McFarlane's been doing that to a much shorter window than the year and a half we've been seeing. I think what's interesting too is when you look at the Hasbro exclusives, is that when the exclusives first came out, the Purge Trooper for the Star Wars video game that was out like a year and a half ago, that's not around anymore. So why would a retailer like GameStop want that exclusive now that it's not tied to something? The Rainmaker set tied to Transformers Siege. That's an old show now. The Captain America Worthy from Avengers Endgame. All right, that's not even this long. That's been on DVD or on demand. So that's not a more recent thing. So I could see from the big box retailers saying, yeah, why do we want to touch a product that was put out for a specific kind of multimedia tie-in, that multimedia tie-in isn't relevant anymore?
On the opposite side of that, though, where do the Netflix Ultra Magnus and Nemesis Prime fit in? Those were supposed to be exclusives and then very quickly were not.
I feel like as they saw the sales of those and were like, yeah, you can have your exclusive back.
That's never been a thing we've seen could happen, though.
I think that might also be caught up in the COVID weirdness.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I think the Ultra Magnus soured them so much on the blind box $50 toy that they're like, nope, too bad. You should have sold the Nemesis Prime, dumbos. Yeah, a lot of this really, when it's exclusives, it's so tricky because, the buyers at the retailers don't really know the brand like a collector. They don't really understand the collector market sometimes. Like it's up to Hasbro to sell them. Like, oh, this is gonna be good. Yeah, you want to sell this.
Right.
Like they're getting pitched this kind of thing all day, every day from every toy brand that exists. So it's not like they're just thinking about, like, all we think about is like some meeting where they're looking through exclusives to buy for Transformers. So they probably had like one call like on a Tuesday afternoon, like, oh yeah, we're ready for the exclusive. It's going to be Nemesis Prime. They're like, who? Okay, how many? How much? Thanks. I'll put it in. Yeah,
Their next call is
sad
against
truth.
Spin Master's like, no, this Paw Patrol exclusive is going to be lit.
Yeah.
I do know that Walmart has hired a guy to work in collectible brands who is a bit more savvy with like Marvel Legends and Black Series and My Little Pony and Care Bears and Transformers. And like they have at least one person who knows what they're doing.
The entire Walmart.
Get that guy on the show.
Employees.
I will try to find that guy again. But he was posting on Reddit during the time where the Captain Marvel exclusive was really shorted, and the Loki and Corvus Glaive 2-pack was really shorted.
Oh, yeah.
And then when Worthy Cap came out and that was really shorted, he was giving information about why that was happening and what they were doing to remedy it. And all of those eventually did get remedied. So
get that guy on the show.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I'm sure that he wants to show his
Reddit
face to give up insider information and whatnot. But yeah,
it was
like
interesting to see that a Walmart at least cares enough to hire someone like that. They didn't care enough to adjust their practices to make pre-orders work or to make online shopping work better for the collector market, but they did care enough to hire someone who actually knew what they were buying. So That's a post Toys R Us thing to me, I think.
Honestly, that sounds like the quicker fix for sure. Like fixing Walmart's UX on their website for collectors, never gonna happen.
Never happen.
Never.
Small side story. One of the worst repacks, if not the worst repack I've ever seen, was a Loki Corvus Glaive 2-pack, where someone had took out the Corvus Glaive and replaced it with 2 Nerf darts. Like, so you had a Loki toy and 2 Nerf darts in the package. I don't know if someone did that, like, on the, in the store, took it out and like threw something else in there, or if they literally took it home or took it to their car, took out the Corvus Glaive toy and then returned it. And the customer service rep at Walmart didn't even give 2 hoots that it was Nerf darts versus a action figure.
That disgusts me. And anytime I've done returns at Walmart, they've like grilled me about what I'm returning. I'm like, how do people get away with this? Or am I just unlucky?
Wow. You're unlucky, I guess, or you have like killers that work in your customer service department.
I've been turned away from returning stuff at Walmart because it's like, hey, you sent me the wrong toy. I'm trying to return it at the store versus like dealing with reshipping it because I was like by Walmart anyway. It's like, well, we can't take it back because it's the wrong toy. Like, well, yeah, that's because you sent me the wrong toy. Like, you're gonna have to do it all through the website.
I had a similar issue. I needed to return an extra Netflix Optimus from a couple months ago, and they almost didn't take it because, remember, when we put those pre-orders in, it wasn't called Optimus Prime. It was called Action Figure.
Oof.
So
that's a big oof.
That's not what it's scanned as. They did do it for me, but it was tough.
Yeah. That is funny because this is like, yeah, where are these repackers like going? Like, how do they? Maybe they just know what shift is the newbie customer service person. He's like, okay, Meanwhile, we get the old battle axe who's like, I've been at Walmart 25 years. How dare you try and slip this by me?
They used to let me smoke in here. So wait, what's Thaddeus talking about here? Worst part about toy collecting is companies taking note of toy collectors. Is there a typo there? Like not taking note? I don't know. Try to adjust.
Please expand upon that.
Thaddeus, we need you. We got like new watchers we've never seen before.
But like the thing is you would think with Walmart or whoever, Target and all that they would actually like hire people to know what they're doing with some of this stuff. Like, because if they're making these like $1 million deals or whatever for, I don't know how much the exclusive whatever, like, but like they don't want the. Whoa! What was that?
Sorry, that was me turning on the live stream on my phone, not realizing I had the volume going.
Anyway,
so, yeah, you were hearing yourself from like 2 minutes ago.
So I was just gonna say though, like, if they make a bad deal and a ton of the figures are on clearance, like they're losing a lot of money from that, So.
Well, you got to remember they're not.
All things being equal.
Like, what percentage of stuff ends up going on clearance, compared to what doesn't? I don't know. I don't work in general retail or a Target, but I would imagine, like you have to really mess up to lose money. Like just because one toy goes on clearance, just because the clones went on clearance doesn't mean like, right. Oh my God, the Transformer toy line at Target didn't make us money this year. That one SKU had to go. That was it. And there's probably like
right, but if you're consistently doing it, like, so say if you hit a double or a home run every single time versus, that you hit singles or strike out or whatever. And so, like, I'm sure that makes a difference in their bottom line. Like, it may not be that big of a difference, but, like, companies now are trying to squeeze every dollar out they can. So if you're going to hire why not hire the guy that knows what he's doing versus the one that doesn't? You know what I mean?
Well, sure.
Maybe the people that know what they're doing just aren't going out for that job. Like, how would they even connect with someone who knows? How would that even come up in an interview?
Well, I don't think.
I guess the guy interviewing probably doesn't know. You know what I mean? Like,
I just don't think like the person, whoever, one person or the group, the team that makes the decision to do the the Transformer exclusives. They're doing the exclusives for the whole toy line, and then maybe even the pet toys. You know, like I don't know, like they have their departments, but we don't know what that really looks like. I'd love to know more. But I guess what I'm saying, Lucas, is, well, like, so if the clones went on clearance, like, is that sure, that sucks that went on clearance. Are you going to fire him? Are you going to fire the guy that told him to buy Leader Siege Shockwave too? You know, because
are you going to fire the guy
sure
that made them order the clones, the NPMs that all went on clearance, all those Cyberverse sets that went on clearance last year? Like, is that a systemic problem? Is that a pandemic problem? Is that a overproduction problem? Like, is it a SKU management problem, or I guess a DPCI management problem? Because those NPMs shouldn't go on clearance as quickly as they did. That was odd.
It just took up a lot of shelf space too, though.
That's true. Did Thaddeus expand upon his original thought? No. Oh well.
No.
Not yet.
Bad. Well, let's go in towards what, like, Phil started the show off with his joke, though. So, like, who gets burnt by them reissuing all this stuff if collectors are happy that this stuff's out there? It's the speculators, right? If they held on to their stuff too long. The people that thought, ooh, I can make a mint on this, so I'm going to grab a few. And I know everyone hates that because it means another collector didn't get their toy, but, like, that's such a narrow-minded view of it, in my opinion. I think, there's risk in everything. We've been talking a lot about the retailer and the wholesaler risk for even making these items. But, I mean, if you're going to flip toys, or you think a toy is going to be more valuable, I mean, you're putting your money where your mouth is. And when this happens, your mouth has your foot in it. If you're still holding the item.
I don't know. I just feel like a year and a half is a lifetime, and, like, making decisions on that or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess we've also kind of done similar shows on, oh yeah, you're going to stop buying whatever toy because, like, the Siege version, like, you can tell there's going to be an Earthrise version that's potentially more G1 accurate or whatever kind of thing, like, once you could figure out what they're doing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like that it's one thing if it's like a month exclusive, it's a different thing if it's a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, there are people who are big time scalpers. I think there are people who are, like myself, small time. I think most people who are collecting toys have sold something for a increased value than what they paid for it. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a part of this, and it somewhat does bring some level of balance to a marketplace that is not always, valued properly. You know, if a toy comes out at a limited run and it's $20, and, you know, the Gigawatt, that's not a $20 toy. Gigawatt, like the Walmart exclusive Gigawatt, granted, is not the $1,985 toy that some people tried to sell it for, might have even sold it for, but that's not or $30, whatever it is. That wasn't a $30 toy. The retail was $30, but they made 1,985 units. Therefore, the real market price is significantly higher than that. Now, with exclusives, certainly it does not benefit Hasbro, Walmart, Target, or Amazon that, at least not directly benefits them, that an exclusive that they have sells out and then starts going double for secondary market on eBay. Other people are getting that direct benefit. So, you know, at the end of the day, there is sort of a sense from maybe these toy companies, and maybe this is them just reacting to that and seeing that they can make more profit off this. Is something we've talked about, but I think, you know, this is one of those things that at the end of the day, you know, I would say a lot of toy collectors that I know are doing some level of secondary market, flipping toys, scalping toys, whatever you want to call it. Not everyone does, but there's a good chunk of toy collectors that I know that do it because all right, you see what the profit is. You see that people can, make a few bucks on it. So it's like, again, I'm not out there trying to get rich. I'm not out there, trying to become the next big bad toy store. It's like, hey, if I can grab, 2 of these toys and that'll allow me to buy 2 more toys down the road. All right. Does that make me an evil person that's got a special place in hell? I think your morals are maybe a little bit superior there, and maybe get off your high horse.
Who are you talking about?
But, I think at the end of the day, like, majority of the time, if I find, a new wave of toys and there's a whole lot of them, the first thing I do is text some of my buddies, see if they want them, see if they need them. If they don't, then I'm probably putting some up on eBay. And if that makes me a horrible person, then you know what? I'll tell you where in Humboldt Park I live on, and where off of North Avenue in Chicago I live by. So that's not my house.
Oh my God!
Are you giving him like directions over to Paul's house?
Yes, exactly.
I don't know why.
Actually, I was actually thinking about this, and I actually feel like it kind of behooves the retailers for it to be more exclusive and hard to find, right? Because I'm just thinking to myself, certain crazy people might like go to Walmart every day while they're waiting. They see the sightings come out, right? And like they're waiting for it to get to their Walmart, and maybe Brixie doesn't work anymore for Walmart. And so then you're sitting there going every single day. And while you're there, you're like, well, screw it. Like, I don't want to go to a different store, so I'm just going to pick up, like, my groceries while I'm here. I'm going to pick up, like, my ice melt or whatever and all that type of thing. So, like, I do think it probably behooves them. Like, they don't want to necessarily have it never be in, because then, people just stop going. But, like, I do think that they want it to be hard to find, because I feel like you probably go to the store more often trying to find it if it is exclusive.
It's a marketing ploy.
Right.
It's a lost leader. It gets you into the store, and you're like, well, I'm already here. I might as well get the diapers for my kid. Oh, wait, I should probably be home with my kid and not at this damn store right now. But the whole thing's a marketing ploy. That's why I said, like, the idea of an exclusive has no legal binding. It's just a way to get you to want it. And it's a way to get you... If you don't have the exclusives, why where do you buy your Kingdom Black Arachnia? Because Walmart has it, Walgreens has it, Target has it, Best Buy why get it at any place over the other one just because you already go to that store? So if you don't go to Walmart but shop at Target and you're a collector, this is a reason that gets a certain very small niche of people to go to the store they would never go to. That's the only reason they do it. It's marketing. Marketing. Ah! So Thaddeus mentioned. Now I think I know what he meant. He was saying how retailers like use our desires against us, and I'm like, welcome to America, bro. Where you been? Yeah. It's marketing. This is a reason. It's the market they know how the market works, and they play to it. That's why those Star Wars holiday troopers were one at every store, and you couldn't get them all. If you wanted them all, you had to buy them at 5 different stores. It was I thought it was insane.
You can get the Walmart one now. That's finally out.
Well, I saw some of those in store back before Christmas, believe it or not. But
I saw one in store before Christmas, and I bought it.
I think they got like 1 case each. So, but yeah,
I saw one yesterday.
Thaddeus also says that people flip toys to hide the cost from their spouse. I think I know some people that do that. I think Phil and I know someone specifically.
Yeah.
Y'all got other issues to deal with. I'm not going to touch that one.
We all got issues.
I'm just waiting for Paul, like, here in another month or so to, make his runs to the store because he keeps forgetting items like off of his grocery list. It's like, oh man, I got the diapers, but darn it, not the diaper cream. Oh, I forgot the wipes now.
Gotta go back.
And you know, they're out of the wipes at the local Target. I had to go to the one all the way across town that happens to have all this.
I had to go to 5 different Walgreens to find that formula.
Actually, I haven't been to a lot of stores in a while. There's just nothing worth really going for. I mean, this exclusive stuff, it works. It works. That's why they're doing it. And this is all a reaction. Toys R Us kind of owned the market on exclusive toy lines and stuff. You know, like they were the place that all the Masterpiece things were. They had their own sublines for some of the movie toys. I remember the first real exclusive Target stuff I remember was the first movie. They had the whole RoboVision thing going on. Do you remember that?
With the Optimus and then all the Scouts.
Yeah, and that was kind of new for them. And they didn't really do... I mean, they've done it here and there, but...
It had
and then
Universe
Walmart did an
stuff.
exclusive Skywarp. That worked out well for them. The Masterpiece Skywarp.
Well, that's the thing. They lost on that one. You know, they lost real hard.
They didn't pick anything up for a long time after that. Or at least not a lot of stuff. But they'd also lost huge back in the early Universe days because they had like 14 exclusives at once that were trying to compete for shelf space, and they were like, no, we can't do this anymore. It's just poor decision making.
Well, this poor decision making is always obvious in hindsight. Like after the thing's on the shelf and no one buys it, you know, like before that day comes, you know, you don't know if it's a good idea or not. It's
True.
just kind of weird. That's why movies like Catwoman get made. Everyone's convinced it's a good idea until it happens.
I'm wondering again if we are going to see that blow up of the baseball card industry, the blow up of the comic book industry from the 90s. Not to that level, but if we're going to see that with toys because of the wacky year that 2020 was. Because there are dudes that I know that lost their job due to the pandemic and went total flipping toys. Even when they got offered their jobs back, they said, you know what, I got some health concerns. I'm making enough money doing this toy flipping thing that I'm not going to go back into my regular job. That, you know, I can order, I know which toys to order online. I know how to order them online, which exclusives to get. And I'm confident enough that I can make enough money doing that I can pay my bills. And, you know, what is, you know, is this a legitimate demand that we're seeing now? Is it hyperinflated due to COVID and due to hyperinflated due to COVID and due to the amount of toy flippers that are out there? And will toy buyers for these big box stores and these major retails adjust for that, or are we still going to just see a glut of things on shelf that get clearance like crazy and suddenly toy selections get maybe reduced a little bit?
You gotta think that at least part of the bubble is gonna pop. Like, funny that I should say it, the pop figure bubble will have to pop eventually, right? We can only make so many
We've
things.
been saying that for years.
We have been saying it for years. And now every Target has a pop
The
section.
alternate Jetfire and Bumblebee.
Every single store has a section for Funko Pops now. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Someone's out buying them.
I randomly bought my buddy a What About Bob pop a few months ago for his birthday.
Why are they making pops of What About Bob?
Because
it's buy them for my friend as a funny birthday present.
You're
Niche
right.
market.
There you go.
Right, those are the kind of pops I would buy. I wouldn't buy Transformers, but I'd buy a What About Bob one, just because why not?
Yeah,
Baby steps.
And that was the one he had. He had the Baby Steps book. I was debating, do I get the shirt that says "Don't hassle me, I'm local," or the pop holding the Baby Steps book?
I think that the market will even out. You know, like the reason there's all these people doing this right now, is that the market can sustain it, or at least it feels like they can. You know, it's when every person that collects toys becomes a dealer, then you have a problem. You know, the only reason it works is because there's less dealers than buyers. But when the buyers, when it goes, If it ever turns upside down, then you're going to have a real problem because there's going to be a lot of dealers that have no one to sell to, and only people that'll buy from them are other dealers who want it for less than that person paid for it. So then it's, it becomes a short sell sort of situation for people. And there will always be people that come out in the end, but many will die in the process.
The only time I worked I had a booth at DairyCon. It was the first time I ever had a booth for myself at a toy show. And the only stuff I sold to was to other guys that was booths at DairyCon.
It's a fair amount of it. I hope that Transformers never have exclusives at Kroger. Like, apparently Thaddeus says that Hot Wheels does. That would be or like Meijer or something like that. Like some regional chain. And I guess Kroger's fairly over the U.S.
Never say never.
How big of a store is
coming
Kroger?
soon? Coming soon to a Kroger near you.
Drones dropping exclusives on your doorstep, as long as they fit in the universal box.
That'd be rough.
I don't think there are any Krogers in my state.
There's
One of
a
the
lot
bigger
of
chains is owned by Kroger now.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Kroger owns. Like we got Mariano's by us in Chicagoland, and those are owned by Kroger.
And mine's Harris Teeter, same way.
I don't know. How does that work with the exclusives? Do they get the exclusives, or is it only at Kroger? Yeah, I don't know.
I hope I never have to find out.
Yeah.
Well, Hot Wheels.
I mean, there's
is
people
different.
who don't like the Walgreens exclusives because there's regions of the countries that don't have a lot of Walgreens.
That's true. I mean, the deals are different with every retailer. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
They
All right,
have,
well,
they're just trying to make a deal, however they have to.
Do we have anything else to cover on this? I know we've kind of beaten this into the ground here.
Target knows I like Code Red Mountain Dew because I would go out hunting for the Marvel Legends exclusive Red Hulk and wouldn't find it. I'd try to go there on my way before work and would grab myself a Code Red Mountain Dew on the way out. So they were getting my Mountain Dew sale from me versus the gas station on my way to work. And now they know I love that Code Red Mountain Dew. It's sweet, sweet cherry flavor in the morning.
Mm.
That's another one of those Mountain Dew where they have all these exclusive flavors and whatnot, and timed exclusives.
Don't even get me started.
Ah.
Well, have we determined if these reissue? I mean, we talked a lot about retailers and wholesalers and scalpers and toy sellers. These reissues that are coming out, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? I think it depends who you are. In general, we're usually talking about the collector, so I think it's a good thing for the collector, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, ultimately I think it's a good thing.
So who's it a bad thing for? That was the crux of our discussion. If you pretend none of these other groups exist, everyone's just like, yay, more exclusives. Yay.
Yeah, I think scalpers and flippers, it's bad for them.
Well, there's one group we didn't talk about, and this is something, if Peter was here, we probably would have hit it, because this was his topic, or his piece of the conversation that I was like, oh. What about the people that just overpaid for one of these exclusives? Literally the day before the reissue was announced. Because that happened to a lot of Moes. Like, that sucks for them. Not because they were trying to make money on it, but because they were willing to pay the extra money. And now it's been... If they
one
found
thing
out,
that we
now
talked
they know
about, worried about exclusives and whatnot, like hitting on that, like Masterpiece is a good example too, because they reissue Masterpiece a fair amount, and people have been in that whole thing where they, get a Soundwave for $200 and some odd, and then you're like, oh crap, they just re-released it, like just right after.
I don't think it hurts those people, but it definitely sucks for those people.
I think
I'm sure
it hurts.
Most of us have been in that situation.
I think it hurts any time you have a major sea change. Like, if you don't think they're going to reissue a Masterpiece or a Fans toy, and then they do, and you just paid secondary market prices for it, you're like, oh, like the fact that this is a fairly new sea change with Hasbro, I think will get some cheers, but also get some bemoaning of folks who overpaid a secondary market for a toy. And then you might have the opposite, where maybe Hasbro does this practice for a year or two, and then they stop. And then you have the folks that say, I can just wait till they re-release it, and then something doesn't get re-released. And then you're going to have people who are going to be perturbed that they now have to go pay secondary market prices to fill that hole in their collection if they see the need for it, versus waiting until a re-release came out that never did.
Yeah, that's a problem too.
Again, it's when those changes happen that's when you get the most disruption.
Now, you know how you can avoid all these situations? Anyone?
Be vigilant.
Just stop. Just stop and stop collecting.
Yeah.
What's my favorite phrase?
Don't be snoozing.
Don't be snoozing! Then you don't have to worry about overpaying or not getting it. You just be there. You just be there and you take it.
Yeah, but there's some people that like live in some rural town that, you know, don't get the exclusives like you do, Paul.
Listen, don't be snoozing. That's all I can say. Don't be. Sleep is bad.
I do want to mention book club this week is going to be RID 20 through 22. So, like, is that Dark Cybertron or is that?
That's what I was wondering. When are they getting to Dark Cybertron?
It seems
are they
like that's
doing
pretty
both
close.
books at the same time?
It seems like they've given up on More Than Meets the Eye, which is just ridiculous.
What?
Hey,
I can't explain
give
it.
up on More Than Meets the Eye? That's just
They haven't read it in like a month. I don't know. More power to
you know, Christian, maybe we actually have to join book club on the premise that they actually read More Than Meets the Eye. I don't know.
We'll have to bring them the good word.
Make them read Dreamwave.
That's better than what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Oof. So tomorrow night, Microcasters live on Facebook at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. What are we doing, Christian? Do you know?
That's with me. That's with you. I
What?
think we're doing MMC,
Yes.
Nemo, and Motif.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Okay.
Did you guys both get that?
Yeah.
I think all three of us have it.
All the
my
Microcasters
goodness.
got it.
Oh my goodness! And she's not making everyone read More Than Meets the Eye.
Right.
She has never read any bits of More Than Meets the Eye where Chrome Dome and Rewind are together.
No, she did. I think that they went through issue 16, didn't they?
I don't know if they made it that far.
So, I don't know. I thought they did. And then they quit because they're like, oh, well, we don't like those types of relationships. Anyway.
I mean, it's still cool to own those two characters from that comic, even if you don't know why they're packaged together.
And why they have little holding hands.
Oh, they have holdy hands.
How else do you expect them to transfer complex protein chains? Dang it!
Right.
Botching the Simpsons line.
Good one, Phil.
Yeah, Nemo and Motif. It's our pre-Valentine's Day special tomorrow night.
Aww.
There you go. And then Wednesday night, is there going to be another oof, Paul?
Oof! My wallet! Coming at you. Normal Z's episode. No craziness. Just a regular old oof day.
Paul, I'm coming.
Oh,
I will be there.
Okay.
What you got, Orson? What you got?
Well, he's got me. He's got Nemo, obviously.
No, that's not what I'm moving. Paul knows what I'm moving.
Yep. Tune in, and you can find out too.
You can find out too.
A rare Christian appearance on
There you go.
the Oof Show.
Usually it's the day I hang out with my sister, but her anniversary is on Wednesday, so I'm alone.
Well, you can be with me and Zaldron and Catherine and Ron and, all the
Great.
rest.
I'll be very happy to be there.
8:30 p.m. Central,
There you go.
right here.
All right, and then cut the tapes on Saturdays. We're just calling it now at this point. So, but yeah, check that out as well. So whatever Rick decides to send me, I'll throw it up. So, all right. Well, thanks guys for joining me tonight. It was a lot of fun. So we thank you to everyone in the chat: Thaddeus, Zaldron, Enots, Ron, Catherine, Trent's. Trying to think who else. I'm sure I probably missed some other people here. Soulcraft. So yeah, thank you guys for your participation in the chat. It was a lot of fun, and we will see you next week.